Once upon a time there was a child named Amelia who lived in a small village with her parents. Amelia's parents were farmers and worked hard to support the family. They loved Amelia very much and would do anything to keep her safe and happy. One day, while Amelia's parents were working in the fields, a big storm hit the village. The wind howled and the rain fell in sheets. Amelia's parents rushed back to the house to make sure their daughter was safe, but when they arrived they found that the house had been destroyed by the storm. Amelia's parents searched far and wide for their daughter, but she was nowhere to be found. They asked the neighbors and village elders for help, but no one had seen or heard anything. Days turned into weeks, and still, there was no sign of Amelia. As time passed, the village began to forget about Amelia. They assumed she had been swept away by the storm or taken in by another family. But the truth was, Amelia was still alive and alone in the world. Amelia didn't know how to survive on her own, but she knew she had to try. She wandered through the village, looking for scraps of food and shelter. She slept in abandoned houses and begged for food from strangers. Amelia's heart was broken into a million pieces when her parents disappeared. She could still hear their voices and feel their warm embraces, but they were only distant memories. It was as if her world had been torn apart by the storm, leaving her alone and exposed to the harsh realities of life. At first, Amelia thought her parents would come back for her. She waited patiently, but the days turned into weeks and the weeks turned into months. As time went on, Amelia began to lose hope. She knew she had to take matters into her own hands if she wanted to survive. She wandered aimlessly through the village, looking for scraps of food and shelter. She slept in abandoned houses and begged for food from strangers. Each day was a struggle and each night was filled with fear and uncertainty. But Amelia refused to give up. She was determined to survive no matter what. She learned to light a fire and cook simple meals. She even managed to plant a small garden outside the cabin. Every small victory was a triumph for Amelia, a sign that she was still alive and fighting. Despite her strength and resilience, Amelia still felt alone in the world. She missed her parents terribly, and her heart ached with each passing day. She would sit by the fire at night, looking into the flames, and remember the warmth of her parents' love. She cried herself to sleep, wishing they were still there to hold her. But over time, Amelia learned to deal with her loneliness. She found solace in nature, birds, trees, and flowers. She would walk through the woods for hours, lost in thought, and return to the cabin feeling refreshed and renewed. Years passed and Amelia became a strong and independent woman. She had made a life for herself and was proud of what she had achieved. But deep down she still yearned for her parents' love, for the comfort of their embrace. One day, while tending her garden, Amelia saw a stranger approaching the cabin. Her heart raced and she felt a rush of fear and excitement. The stranger was an old man with kind eyes and a gentle smile. He introduced himself as a traveler, passing through the village on his way to another land. Amelia invited him in and offered him food and shelter. They sat by the fire, talking late into the night. The old man told him stories of his adventures, the places he saw and the people he met. Amelia listened intently, captivated by his words. As the night wore on, Amelia opened up to the old man. She told him about her parents and how she was left alone in the world. She told him about her struggles and triumphs, about the loneliness she had learned to live with. The old man listened patiently, his eyes filled with empathy and understanding. And when she was done, he took her hand and said, "You may feel alone in the world, but you're never really alone. Your parents may be gone, but their love lives on in you. And now, you have a new friend to share your journey." Amelia felt a surge of emotion, a heat spreading through her body. She looked into the old man's eyes and saw a reflection of her parents' love. In that moment, she realized that she wasn't alone in the world, not really. She had her parents' love in her heart and the old man's friendship to guide her forward. The next morning, as the old man prepared to leave, he gave Amelia a small wooden box. "This belonged to my grandmother," he said. "She always said, you can be lonely, but in the world, you will never be alone, never." I hope you enjoyed the story. Subscribing to the channel is so easy. Press there with your little finger. This will help me bring you many more stories. Thank you very much for watching. I will bring you another story.